This lonely marine park orca is sick and drugged up to the point where he can scarcely even see. This is the sad case of Lolita the killer whale. It is reportedly one of the more extreme examples of a marine park in the United States taking advantage of an orca in captivity for financial profit at the expense of the animal's welfare. Originally born to one of the now endangered pods of resident orca whales that live in the waters around Washington state, Lolita now probably knows little of her native home. This happened in early August 1970 when men in speedboats surrounded a pod of killer whales in Puget Sound. The men allegedly used a plane, nets, ropes, and explosives to separate the adults as they captured the infants, one of which was a female calf that locals called Toquita. Toquita, renamed Lolita, then left her life in the wild to begin a new one in captivity as the star of the Miami Sea Aquarium. Her captured cousins had similar experiences as marine-themed amusement parks in Texas, Japan, Australia, the United Kingdom, and France also reportedly paid the whale herders for their services. In fact, Lolita would be Sea Aquarium's second orca and a companion for the park's older male, Hugo. Unlike Lolita, however, Hugo was practically a teenager when he was captured in 1968. To better prepare for housing a pair of orcas, then the park kept Hugo in what is now the manatee pool, while they built a larger 80-foot wide pool for Lolita. Apparently, as soon as Lolita arrived, Hugo began calling out to her from his nearby swimming hole. After a few weeks of allowing the two whales to communicate with each other from a distance, the park moved Hugo to the larger pool to be with Lolita. However, the park had reason to be nervous about the pair's first physical encounter together. Indeed, Hugo had not adjusted well to life in captivity, perhaps because he was slightly older than Lolita. For example, he was aggressive and would constantly hit his head against the glass. But there are no reports that he ever showed any kind of aggression toward Lolita. Instead, he would sometimes target his trainers, refuse to perform altogether, or, per his usual routine, bashed his head against the pool's deeper viewing windows. Ultimately, Hugo died of a massive brain hemorrhage in 1980, and the park did not purchase another orca as a companion whale for Lolita. By that time, fortunately, wild captures of orcas in the Pacific Northwest had ended, due primarily to a change in public sentiment over the practice. Neither did Miami Sea Aquarium find a replacement companion through a transfer with another marine park or purchase of a captive orca from Iceland, which was still common at the time. Another reason why Lolita never received an additional whale companion might have been that Lolita's pool isn't really big enough. The park claims otherwise, but others state that an island in the middle of the pool reduces its swimmable size below today's legal minimum requirements. This is even more shocking when you consider that Lolita weighs in at about 6,000 pounds and stretches to 21 feet long. Indeed, Lolita would swim up to 100 miles a day in the wild, but in her pool, she can apparently swim only a little more than the length of her own body. Not only that, but she is also slowly losing her vision due to pterygium, or surfer's eye, which is an uncomfortable condition caused by excessive exposure to UV radiation. And if her physical health isn't bad enough, her reported mental health is not much better. Recently, for example, Lolita had allegedly started showing signs of emotional distress through jaw popping, a potentially damaging activity that indicates that Lolita is bored or frustrated. People also cite whales' intelligence as a reason why Lolita shouldn't be kept in captivity. After all, whales rank as one of the more intelligent species on Earth and are one of the few to possess self-recognition. Indeed, While only an estimated 90 southern resident community orcas now swim in the Pacific Northwest waters, Lolita's mother, Ocean's son, is one of them at the ripe old age of 90 years old. Though the process would have to be gradual, the idea is to provide her with a safe natural habitat in a cove along one of the Juan de Fuca Islands of her birth home. There, potentially, she would be given swimming lessons in the Pacific Ocean and learn to eat live salmon before eventually being introduced to the resident L pod of orcas that are her relatives. But Miami Sea Aquarium must first agree or be forced to release Lolita from her enclosure. To this end, PETA, Orca Network, and the Animal Legal Defense Fund have banded together to lobby for Lolita's case. While the case was dismissed, it caught the attention and rallied the support of the public. In February 2015, then NOAA Fisheries added Lolita to the endangered species list. And in July 2015, the animal rights trio filed a lawsuit against the Miami Sea Aquarium, citing a violation of the Endangered Species Act, or ESA.